Guys, I'm Makayla. I'm with the Colorado Mountain Club. I'm a HAMS instructor, high altitude mountaineering school, advanced crevasse rescue seminar, and leader for the Denver group, and then also Blizzard's leadership team. This is my system that I use on any kind of day hike in the summer and fall in Colorado. Just a couple different options for headband, but you can also kind of double them as ear protection without having a really heavy duty hat. I have a pair of sunglasses here, so I typically always have sunglasses on top of my head if you've seen me around. My helmet, so as you know, we've got some scrambling and some peaks in Colorado, especially the 13ers and 14ers. There's rock fall, so I definitely have a helmet handy as far as my summer hiking system. That's my neck gaiter, so I've got the Colorado Mountain Club buff here. I do carry an insulated hat. As far as base layers, depending on, again, weather considerations, how far I'm going, where I'm going. Just smart wool, really lightweight, but just a nice kind of option. Otherwise I might go with a long sleeve, kind of just depending. I do have another kind of option that I could potentially bring, especially in Colorado when we get really high heats in the summer. That's my sun shirt, so just a Patagonia lightweight sun shirt to help with the UV, and it's really breathable. I've got a couple options for mid-layer basically, so a traditional kind of standard fleece, just this nice marmot fleece here, and it's got just a half zip towards, this is my mountain equipment, and it's basically my mid-layer doubles for a fleece. And I've also got a full zip on this that does then go ahead and cover my mouth and chin, and works really well with a helmet too. So Colorado is probably your most often used shell as far as the summertime. So just a nice, really lightweight black diamond, water and wind resistant jacket here. If it is, like snowing, or maybe the weather turns and I get myself into a rainstorm, something like that, I oftentimes do have a backup Gore-Tex hard shell in my pack. So then I have another option that I could potentially bring, really again as a backup emergency layer or an insulation layer, should things get a little bit worse or turn worse unexpectedly. Might also be my summit jacket. It's really nice, should you be kind of hanging out having lunch or nap on the summit, then I can go ahead and put on my insulation layer. I've got my boots back here. I got a pair of A solos, but I know, oftentimes I might swap these out depending on the objective. For trail runners, they might be a little bit better for scrambling and that kind of thing. But otherwise, just a standard kind of hiking boot. I do a dual sock system, so toe socks are my favorite go-to at the moment as far as my sock layering system. Very, very helpful as far as my personal blister prevention. And then I have my second layer of sock, which would be just a lightweight wool sock. Then I've got basically a long john, and oftentimes I won't necessarily wear this, but I typically put this in my pack to have a backup long john layer. So I've just got a really lightweight, and this is my summer Mountain Hardwear pair of hiking pants here. Really breathable, lightweight hiking pants. It's not Gore-Tex, not a hard shell or anything like that. Very lightweight hiking pant, but rain pants. And these are super lightweight, full zip, marmot rain pant. And these are super convenient. You can just toss them on, being full zip, over everything, including spikes if you've got spikes on. If you do get stuck in a Colorado rainstorm. So that's basically it for my bottom layers and my pant system. Really light in the summer for me most of the time, so that's why my rain pant will live in my pack, and my long johns for backup layers. And then beyond that, I just have my glove system, so my liner here. And then I've got a little bit more heavy duty wrap glove here. They're a little bit more versatile and dexterous. So these are wrap, Gore-Tex glove, really handy. And along with socks and base layers, I typically have a backup layer of gloves to be prepared. So pretty simple system here. You know, a lot of this carries over into my other systems as well, including mountaineering in the winter and spring and things like that. But for the most part, this is a pretty versatile system. And again, I'm going to swap out things here and there depending on my objective, but a lot of the stuff I went through also is going to be just backup emergency gear that might live in my pack for my 10 essentials and being prepared for Colorado. You never know what could happen. So yeah, so this is my Colorado kind of day hike layering system. System laid out here, what I use for mountaineering in Colorado, and that includes in the winter, and then also up in the Pacific Northwest. So glaciated climbing, same system. I've brought with me a lot of international destinations as well. So a lot of ways to skin a cat, so whatever works for you. There's a lot of different methods out there. I'm just going to break down what I use. I've got everything laid out here, kind of piece by piece. If you've watched any of my other videos for the CMC, you'll probably pick up on the fact that I really love to lay out my gear. Planning, right? Failing to plan is planning to fail. So let's get into it. A buff that I carry, Colorado Mountain Club, woo! I always carry a buff, definitely. This is super versatile. I mentioned this in a couple of my other videos, but you know, as ladies, this really helps out with the hair. You know, you can kind of protect things from not getting down inside your jacket, things like that. And then, you know, you can always wear it as an actual kind of balaclava partially as well. So you always find a buff or a neck gaiter in my stash of gear. For mountaineering, I do actually bring a full-blown balaclava that would basically, you know, essentially cover my entire face. Frostbite's a big concern for the kind of climbs and training and whatnot that we do, not just on our glaciated climbs, but especially here in Colorado. So making sure you don't have exposed skin is definitely key. As far as my other kind of neck head wear, I always bring a headband. That's really, really important for me. I definitely have really thick hair and a lot of it, not to mention long, so this is really always something, you know, you can use a buff or something like that to double as well, but I always find I use it, and honestly you can use it for multiple things. You know, if you wanted to, or you were in a dire situation, it could definitely turn into a pee rag or something like that for the ladies. So definitely bring a headband with me. I also bring an insulated hat, so a warm hat, glacier goggles. So there's always a pair of glacier goggles inside my kit or my system. And this is really important on a glacier to shield from snow blindness. My goggles, and honestly this has become more of a habit on really all of my climbs to have backup kind of eye protection. I've borrowed out eye protection to folks in my group, outside of my group, a lot of different times, so it always seems to be beneficial to carry an extra. So advantageous to have a backup, especially in mountaineering. You know, whiteouts and things like that are going to happen, and these are going to serve me a lot better than glacier glasses. My headwear, basically the hat that I have on, I would bring a sun hat. Really important, you know, something with a visor that I can help, you know, sort of get away from the inevitable exposure that is on a glacier with all that reflection. And then I do carry a helmet, shaded climbs, and a lot of things that we do in Colorado. Obviously, you need a helmet. Beyond that, I sort of have my upper layer systems, so base layer, or maybe synthetic, although it'd be a little bit smellier. So I definitely like wool. But this is just a lightweight smart wool here, and definitely bring my sun shirt. So this is my Patagonia sun shirt. Some folks will laugh and say, you know, back when we had sun shirts back before they were cool. But this is a really valuable thing to have. It's super lightweight, really nice for the UV protection. Then I have a mid layer, and this is one of probably my most favorite piece of gear, honestly, as far as layers. go, because this is really, really versatile. It's a full zip mountain equipment mid-layer, so basically replaced my fleece, and it's really convenient because it does full zip up over the nose, mouth, and it does have a hoodie compatible for helmets. So Gore-Tex hard shell Arc'teryx jacket here that I use for my hard shell, to roll my gear and toss it in the hood for. This is just a really nice kind of hybrid puffy, a synthetic puffy that I got from Arc'teryx. It's a really, really awesome piece of gear, and honestly this I wear more than my big heavy duty puffy. Okay, so this is my awesome wrap jacket. I love this thing. It's a super, super warm, but maybe emergency layer item that largely lives in my pack. Now that said, it does come in handy and quite warm at camp, and when weather does really take a turn for the worse. My double boots, these are the Sportiva G2s, probably my most favorite boot ever, well worth the money. They do come with a liner. So if you don't wear down booties at camp, or you don't like to have an extra item in your pack for sleeping and keeping your feet kind of warm, they do have a nice liner inside of them. So I really like these. I mean, you can definitely sleep in these and kind of walk around. These are a game changer. I love boas, system the boa to just be able to pop and twist as far as your lacing system. So gaiters, using gaiters as a piece of your gear item, you'll kind of grow to love them as a barrier between your expensive pants and those holes that happen between crampons and things like that. Additionally, I think something else really nice about gaiters is you can actually kind of add a little bit of warmth to your bottom half, if you're kind of running lighter on your pant layering system. Toe socks, which are really awesome for me personally, to help prevent blisters within my sock layer system. So then I have this lightweight to medium size wool sock that I'll carry. So I do a dual sock system, and that helps me as far as my preventative blister measures. A lightweight long john here, soft shells. So I have a pair of soft shell pant here. This is my Rab Ascenders, and I absolutely love them. They do actually have suspenders, which I highly recommend. You might not be into suspenders, but for me they're really kind of a game changer. So this is a soft shell pant that I'll typically pair with a lightweight long john. This is my Gore-Tex hard shell here pant, and these are my Mamoots, and they're just probably my favorite. I do love these pants. For one, they've got the full zip, which I highly recommend, especially with crampons, harnesses, and adding layers. So if I get into a snowstorm, I can quickly adapt with my gear on. So that's really convenient. They have a built-in gaiter, so that's kind of an added convenience. And then ladies, you'll love this, but full butt zip for the win, for sure. So this is a key component in mountaineering, and especially when nature calls and you are tied to other people on a rope team. You will thank me later. The butt zip is definitely a game changer for women's outdoor fashion. So I've got a lightweight, kind of cloth liner, and it's nice and convenient, but certainly not waterproof. But I do have a Gore-Tex pair of Rab gloves here that are certainly a little bit more dexterous and work well for ice climbing and grip and that kind of things, and knots, especially on your rope team. So very extra layers that really live in my pack, but it might be an emergency setting that I use them, or it might be something for swapping out cleanliness of socks and things like that. So really what I've got in here, I've got a heavier duty pair of gloves, a lot more insulated and padded than my other pair, these wraps. I have a pair of mittens, and these are actually just the liners from my really heavy duty mittens, because oftentimes I don't need my mittens. It's just really something I bring for emergencies. A backup layer of a base layer, so that might be a shirt or long johns. You might get wet, you might need to swap out if you're on an expedition, camp cleanliness, that kind of thing. And then a backup pair of socks, typically more than one backup pair of socks, live in my gear as far as my layer systems as well. Oftentimes, you're going to change out your summit socks or your hiking socks, have something clean to sleep in, and those kind of considerations. So just some thoughts on some different backup layers, and really, again, this is my system, this is what I bring, but it's not the same for everybody, so just what I've been using is my system, and frankly it works pretty well.